We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Robert. Robert is looking at adding an Emotiva 5-channel A500 BasX amp to. I'm going to say it like that. BasX. No, it's so stupid.
BasX. I don't know. There's no E.
BasX. There's no E. BasX.
They say it's basics, like, basic. Basics.
Then they should have written it.
I know.
Not B-A-S capital X.
They're Emotiva. They love that letter X. They love it. It's their favorite thing.
BasX amp to his dead-end X4300H receiver to expand it from 7.2.2s to 7.2.4.
Yeah.
He's going to buy a 5-channel amp to do this. He's often heard that it's best to power the front 3 speakers with an external amp and the surrounds with his receiver. Is this true? And if so, why? Just because the dedicated amps typically have more power. His thinking is to power all 4 ceiling speakers with the amp so that when he's not watching Atmos or DTS-X, he can keep the amp off to save power, cut down on heat, and prolong the amp life. What are our thoughts and recommendations for this type of setup? Okay, so a lot of people suggest getting the amps for the front 3 channels because the front 3 channels tend to play more of the sounds than any of the rest of the channels. It takes a lot of power, a lot of the amplifier requirements. How much power is actually going through your receiver, off of the receiver, and puts it into another device, which basically does nothing else. Generally, the external amp's going to have a lot more power. Oodles of more power reserve, and therefore your receiver is doing very little work, creating very little heat.
And it might, like the external amp might have a slightly lower noise floor,
or
give you a little bit more headroom because it just has more watts available. So potentially there's some minor performance gains to be had, but really what he wants to do is fine. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with what he wants to do. No.
In fact, when I started looking at doing the review for these prime elevation speakers, which I will, once I set them up, I will do. I just haven't set them up yet. I seriously considered a number of different options. All right, and I'm the same as you guys and gals. I am no different. All right, I start shopping and I'm going to get a 2-channel amp for my 2 little speakers, and I'm done. And then you look at the price of the you get the little cheapy 2-channel amp. It's like $100. You're like, oh, that's cute. Maybe I should use those to power my main speakers. But then that's actually not going to work because I can't reassign my main speaker. So I'd actually need 4 channels. If I'm going to get 4 channels, I might as well get 5. Well, let's see what a cheap 5-channel. Well, that's not that much more expensive. Yeah. That's not that much more. So that's like $300. I mean, what's $300? $300. I mean, $300. That's barely anything, right? That's barely money. I mean, I throw away $300 every time I go to Sam's, just buying meat. That's totally not true, but it could be. It's very easy to spend $300 on meat. But if you're going to spend $300, then you can get this other one that has a lot more power and headroom for like $500. For $500, this is an amp I could take to my grave. I will hand this amp down to my son. Yes, I go down the same rabbit hole you guys go down. I do. And in the end, I ended up with what amp did I end up with? Tell me again. I forgot. I bought
Dayton Audio, the APA 100.
That's what I ended up with. 2-channel amplifier to power my whatever the speakers are going to be called are. Yeah. Front heights or front whatever they are. And that's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think you can get away with just that probably, if that's what you want. But if you've got this 5-channel amp and stuff like that, and you want to throw out some other channels, you can do it however you like. That's fine.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you've been fine running, say, 7.1, using just the Denon X4300's built-in amps, nothing is changing. All you're doing is giving yourself 4 overhead speakers with external amps. You can switch them off if you want to. I suspect, like most of us who start using the Dolby Surround up mixer on everything, that before too long you won't be turning that amp off. That
amp ain't never going off, Haas. Let me tell you right now. I'll be real honest with you. I don't see that amp ever getting turned off. And you're someone... you can tell yourself whatever you got to tell yourself. You can tell yourself whatever you got to tell yourself, but the reality of the situation is you ain't ever turning that amp off.
And you're someone who knows enough about this stuff to write to this podcast, which means I believe at some point you're going to be like, I have to see what my front speakers sound like connected to the Emotiva instead of powered directly by the Denon. And whether there's a difference or not,
the same.
you're probably going to convince yourself that there is. Because like, it's an external amp. It has blue lights. It surely sounds better.
Surely.
So
don't call that amp Shirley.
I think
call
we
it
know
BasX.
where this will ultimately lead, Robert. But what you want to do is absolutely fine. You can continue powering your traditional 7 speakers with the Denon and only power the overhead speakers with the external amp. That is totally fine.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.